What's up?
How are you?
I'm good. You can't see me here. Now you can see me.
Hello.
How are you? Oh, there you are. Okay.
Thanks.
And this is the room. All right. So here's everybody.
Hello.
This is Mackenzie. Mackenzie, meet everybody.
Nice to meet you all.
And we are doing the beloved engagement quiz right now.
Oh, nice. It's been a while since I've done one of those.
So it's an easy one today. Is it letting you in?
I don't think it's gonna let me.
Are you doing it off of an app or off of a
It's on the browser, yeah.
oh, yeah, it won't work on the browser. You have to do it on an
Yeah.
app.
Are you able to pull that link up on your side,
Uh,
possibly?
Give me a sec.
No worries.
If you can see, let me share my screen.
Yeah, I think because there's links in here,
Oh,
so you
there it
probably have
is.
to
Yeah.
download it. Yeah.
Looks like I have a PDF, but that's probably fine.
Yeah, it should work.
And here's your, so let me just call this up. Okay, can you see that?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, great. Okay, go ahead and please welcome Mackenzie Price.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for letting me bother you today. This is not the most exciting PowerPoint you or slideshow you will see, but I will do my best to be as entertaining as I can. So I graduated from Ball State in 2017, um, and I had how many classes? I can't remember how many classes I had with you. Was it two?
Yeah, because Tom Price was still there, right?
Right, yeah. So when I was putting this slideshow together, because I don't have all of my stuff on a hard drive here in Norway. I left it back in the States. So I was trying to go through some of my old things, and if you scroll to the next one, you'll see some of my walk down memory lane.
Oh,
You might recognize the girl on the bottom left.
yeah, that's Kate.
Yes. Yeah. So this is crazy to see these now. I haven't seen these in years, but so
Katie.
I was, yeah. When I started at Ball State, I was a fashion merchandising student, and I'm not a math girl, so it wasn't really hitting well for me. And at the time, social media was a thing, but it wasn't a thing. I think they only offered one course, and it was just like, this is what social media is, and these are the platforms that exist. And that was kind of the extent of it. So I didn't have essentially any photography experience at all. Like the picture in the bottom middle is the very first photo I'd ever taken on a proper camera of Sam, who was also in the same class as me with Doc. And I really, I laugh about it now, but I really just had no idea what I was doing. I just kind of was flying by the seat of my pants and hoping for the best. And luckily, thanks to people like Tom Price and Doc, I was able to get a lot of sort of what I was wanting out of this photojournalism program, which was my interest in the fashion industry. So these are definitely dated now, but they were some of the projects that we had, and Doc was nice enough to let me borrow his daughter there on the bottom left to do some like outside work, just to sort of get my portfolio going. Because yeah, again, just really had no idea what I was doing. Um, so when I graduated in 2017, I remember I made a joke to my friends like, "Oh, I'm never going to touch a camera again," because yeah, I feel really not confident in it. So when I moved to Norway for personal reasons, a couple months later, I was of course trying to get a visa. So I was trying to apply to a bunch of different places, and the only thing that kept sticking out to everybody was that I had a photography degree. So that joke became even funnier because I ended up doing quite a bit of it the first couple of years that I lived in Norway. So if you scroll to the next slide for me, please. So this was in 2017, and the blog world was ginormous, especially for fashion bloggers and content creators and quote unquote influencers. So I was working quite a bit trying to just get my name out there and work with some of these Norwegian talents. So I was taking pictures for their blogs and their Instagram profiles because it was becoming more and more of an influencer world at the time. So it was a really interesting period, trying to find a visa, but also get some experience into the industry. Norway's very small, especially Oslo. So I was very lucky to meet one person who would then tell someone else, and then all these people I'm still friends with now. So yeah, that was sort of my freelance photography beginning. Um, and then I ended up getting a job for my visa as a social media manager with a salon and cosmetics company. My work with them was not really, I mean, it was really just having the visa and getting work to be able to stay in the country. So the bottom right photo is for that company there. But that, thankfully, because of that company, I was able to start doing a lot of freelance projects for other people that weren't really so related to, because this world here was very related on what they wanted and not so much what I wanted. So if you scroll to the next one. Um, Sorry, if you go back one more. Yeah. So this is more of the speed I was trying to go in. This is, shot on some analog. This is more about not so obvious fashion related photography, but more of like an artistic approach. And I think about it a lot when it comes to photojournalism because I was never a big news photojournalism person. It just never really hit with me. But then when I was working a lot on my personal projects and projects with people who let me have creative freedom, I was able to do quite a bit more sort of storytelling. So this brand here called Diabana, it's a jewelry brand by two of my friends who are from Senegal, and all the jewelry is made in Senegal. It's handcrafted, beautiful work, and I feel very lucky to have been able to work with them and create really beautiful storytelling, or sorry, my own opinion, uh, work that sort of translates to what they're trying to do, which is talk about people in different cultures and different backgrounds and have different things. So the top one is more of just a generic sort of campaign, I guess, for their collection. And the bottom was a series for Women's Day. So yeah. And in the spirit of freelance, I was very interested in the music and dance world as well. So if you scroll to the next one for me, please. Working a lot with the guy in the middle is actually my boyfriend, the reason I'm in Norway. But him going to music school was really helpful in finding a lot of other people in the industry, music industry, especially who wanted, yeah, just someone who wanted just to have fun. And the ones on the right there, are a group of friends of mine who run a dance community or sort of talent agency, I guess. And they get together once a month and just do dance sessions. And that was pretty much the extent of my freelance career. I mean, I was doing social media at the time, of course. So all of this is like, I just try to showcase general photography, but I was also doing my normal like 9 to 5 job, but also doing some freelance social media for different fashion brands and setting up sort of consultancy that way. And then I was able to, after 4.5 years, get the job I have now, which is social media management at the only fashion house in Norway called Halsweiler, which if you go to this next slide there. I've been here now for just recently 2 years, and it's a huge difference in what I was doing before in terms of its proper corporate fashion. Very different ballgame than just working for like a local salon and cosmetics company. So these next few slides are going to be interesting because again, my own opinion, in terms of I just watching how different I've sort of taken social media because at this job I'm not doing so much of the content myself. I'm more so this is where like the creating strategies and working with numbers comes into play. This first slide here, except for the second one from the left, are things that I've done, but this was from the very beginning when I was a bit more adventurous and also slightly scared to push boundaries and work more in the social strategic world where you post a piece of content, you see how it performs, and then you build more content from that. But these are all videos actually, so I kind of stopped doing so much photography in this job, and it's more so focused on videos. We definitely don't have to play all of them, but if there's one that catches your eye that you want to play, you can definitely do that if you want to.
Oh, off of this?
Yeah, so they're all different sort of campaigns, but you definitely don't have to play all of them.
Which one should I click?
Actually, the one that you're on now, you can click, because this. What was fun is that in my freelance thing that you saw earlier of the girls that were dancing, I was able to bring them into this world and use them as the face of a launch of our sweat line, our sweatsuit line, which was really fun to sort of bring my freelance world and my corporate world into one and kind of support my friends. So this was a fun project.
It's gonna let me, yeah, okay, here we go. Did you license David Vu's music? Oh, I'm sorry, wasn't David, it was
Actually, my boyfriend and a friend of his made the music for this, so that was really fun as well. Because this was really just me bringing in a bunch of my friends to make this this highlight, because we were highlighting the dance group.
nice.
Yeah. So
Cool.
it's when I was making the slideshow, I could see as well like the difference from this section of the very beginning of my career in this company versus where I'm kind of at now, where now it's I'm a bit more confident in pushing boundaries a little bit, because here the performance is quite low. So these were all just like small little random projects I was doing on my own, and now we have an actual team. So it's not just me, like I social management, like decide that we're doing things, but it's definitely working with a team of creators and photographers and videographers and strategists and whatnot. So this is just representative of the beginning. And then if you click to if you unless you want to watch
Like
that,
this-
they're sure.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is a clip from our spring summer campaign. Yeah, so if you click to the next one, last year was my second time we show at London Fashion Week. Now before we were doing Copenhagen Fashion Week, and because it was our first time in London, it was obviously a lot of pressure on everyone, because it was the first time we were stepping outside of Scandinavia to really showcase our stuff internationally. And so it was just me and a content creator and my boss kind of showing up to this, but we really wanted to push some boundaries. So this is the first time that we took TikTok even more seriously, because it's an unfortunate position, but a lot of people just don't understand it who aren't working with it, and they don't care so much about the platform. It's always like Instagram, Instagram, Instagram. So I really wanted to prove that I could do it. So the one on the far left is very much trend driven. This wasn't an original idea, but it was one of the first ones that went sort of it got better engagement than our typical stuff, because we were willing to sort of like step outside the box, and it's definitely going to be loud. So apologies in advance on the first one.
That's okay, I like loud. Oh, this is on TikTok. Wonder if I'll get in trouble for this.
Oh, that's true.
Let's see. Yep. Let me try that again. This is the one, right?
Mm-hmm.
It seems to default to.
Yeah, Yeah, so nothing
funny.
groundbreaking, but it was just a bit out of the box for us because they were very scared to do interesting things on social media. So from there, we were finally given a lot of like allowance to do more things. So these next ones are just a bunch of random TikToks that I feel like fit kind of what works for us, which is educating people on the sort of sustainable actions that we do at our brand. And this one here,
This one here?
yeah.
Okay.
So we opened up an archive store that we sell all of our like previous projects for. And inside the store, everything, not just the clothes, but everything that you see inside the store has been somewhere before. So like the front desk where like the cash register is, this used to be a part of our runway show, and like the carpets are leftover fabric pieces from other stores. So this was an exciting thing to work with because I think a lot of people on the platform enjoy getting to know one behind the scenes aspects of a brand, but also the sustainable actions of a brand. So the shelves are actually made out of pieces or a dead stock fabric that they basically just kind of pressed down and then made into, I don't know how the actual process works, but it's essentially just building like using clothing to build shelving. So this was an exciting thing to work with.
Add a lot of epoxy or something. Or acrylic. Nice.
And
And
then this is another trend that I'm sure you guys have seen, was just us having fun, and we're finally able to do something fun. I'm actually in this one too, so that was fun as well.
I saw you.
Yeah, so that was fun. You don't need to play the next one, but the last one, because of the way the algorithm works, like we really are only showing up on the Norwegian For You page unless, you know, our video is being pushed somewhere else. So we're really trying to play to the idea of like Norwegians watching, because Norwegians are very unique on TikTok. And the very last one, actually, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a Norwegian. He's like a pop star. I don't. This is in Norwegian, but this worked incredible for us because everyone loves him on TikTok because he's actually on TikTok.
Det er første gang i voksen alder jeg skal sy. Og så har jeg veldig lyst til å lære å sy, da. For dette er min prioritet. Enten hvis jeg kommer herfra med en genser, da kjøper jeg meg sykkelsett. Da føler jeg at alt er mulig. Nå har jeg gjort overlock. Nå har jeg vest. Snart en genser. Han er kjempedyr. Du lyver? Nei, jeg lyver ikke. Det står ikke at han er skikkelig. Ja, faktisk. Jeg tror jeg kommer til å bli veldig irritert. Jeg kommer til å si til alle jeg ser denne. Nei, jeg. Snart ferdig. Jeg gleder meg. Føles veldig bra. Se på dette. Det er litt sånn tråder fortsatt, men det klipper vi bare av. Skal jeg ta en ballerina spin for den?
So this was a collaboration that we did with it's a local company of women who basically teach people how to sew, and we were using some of our dead stock fabric to then have people learn how to sew with our products. So because we have had a bit more of people willing to let us push on just following a trend on TikTok, it's allowed us to then translate this onto Instagram. So this last show we had for our autumn winter, which was just now in February, we had they basically gave us green light, like you guys do whatever you want because it's obviously working, which is always nice to hear. So the far left video is probably one of the best pieces of content, and it was picked up by some media sources as well. So it was really exciting to be a part of that project and do something a bit more like specifically social led and not so specific to a campaign. And
I saw this. This is awesome.
Thank you.
That's you in there, right?
No, it's not me.
Oh.
No, I had to film for TikTok behind the scenes, so it's a colleague.
Oh, wait a minute. Let me start over again with sound. Oh, it's not going to let me, is it? All right. Sorry, I'm navigating around all these things I have sticking in the. Oh, okay. in the browser.
Yeah, so this was obviously very fun to film. A lot of people think this is CGI, and it is not. So that was also a compliment to get people to be like, "Oh, how did you guys create this with AI when we don't have the budget?" I'm like, "We didn't." So yeah, we took that giant down jacket around London for the day to sort of like tease for our show. And it was a very last minute idea because we were really desperate to get some attention around the show. And we ended up bringing it to the show as well. So it was kind of a nice full circle moment. But yeah, it was one of the probably most rewarding and like best pieces of content. And like I was saying earlier, in the first sort of part of my career, you see at this company a bit scared to pull risks like this, and you can see that it didn't pay off because engagement is very low versus stuff like this where engagement's much higher. I mean, it's not obviously viral or anything, but it definitely has a big jump in likes and comments and shares and things like that. So that is always nice. And then alongside for the show, we were able to actually, because they tend to like everything very clean and nice. So we were able to put some more of like, if you go back to the, we brought out the tiny microphone, which we do for TikTok, but we've never done on Instagram before. And that was also fun to bring the tiny mic backstage and have all of our models answer questions, and then put our first like carousel up that's not just from a camera, because again, everyone is sometimes, and by everyone I mean adults at this company, are very stuck in 2017 and not wanting to post phone related content. So this ended up working out quite well for us.
Yeah, you want me to play that?
You don't have to.
Okay.
So yeah, that's pretty much the gist of everything as of right now. I feel like I'm just rambling, so I hope it makes sense.
Oh, no, you're doing great.
Thank you. So yeah, that's kind of the gist
the
from
last slide.
photography to social media. Yeah.
So I'll stop share and allow some questions. I have some questions, of course. One of those TikTok videos was 1 minute, 8 seconds. It's for TikTok, that's almost long form. What's your average time for your videos?
It really varies because they've been pushing long form quite a bit, but we just really aren't the long form company. Because I mean, you'll have a lot of like creators who will do full day vlogs that'll be upwards of 3 minutes, even longer. But for us, 7 seconds typically works the best. So that one that you saw that was longer was a bit of a risk, but ended up working out. And I think if you have the right person or the right type of content for it, it can work. It doesn't always work for us, but that's the fun of the TikTok algorithm.
So you said 7 seconds.
Mm.
Wow. Okay. Cool. A room full of people here. So how long do you think you'll stay in? So I was just actually talking to someone about social media jobs, actually one of our class members here about social media work. How long do you expect to stay in social media, and where might you progress from there? What are the opportunities moving forward?
I mean, definitely seeing the path end. It's it's a lot of pressure on social media because you have to always be on, and when things are changing quite quickly and quite often, it gets and everyone thinks that one person can handle all of that. So I would say, given my age and how long I've been around doing it, probably within the next 2 to 3 years, I would probably be good to move on. And I think it's different from person to person, but for me, I'd probably say someone just general strategy or art direction of some kind, just where like you do more of the ideas and less of the actual work. I would say probably.
Okay, interesting. Do you find yourself? Do you think you're ever going to get behind the camera again?
It's weird because I definitely never thought about it. Because I still I've never felt like fully comfortable behind it because I don't know, personal reasons probably. But putting this together, I was like, okay, I actually had a lot of fun doing some of these things. So I think it would have to be a really good opportunity, and I'm not sure what that would be.
Mhm.
But the idea sounds nice.
To flip that a little bit, to what degree do you think your grounding in photography and lens-based work kind of prepared you for what you're doing now?
Oh, all of it. Like that's what it was. Because I think again, like from you could go down like the artistic, I don't know if it's still separated at Ball State, but like, you have the art photo and then you have photojournalism. They're very different in the sense of how I think we handle content itself. And I think the storytelling aspect of photography, I think is what led my interest in social media, because it is just storytelling. So definitely, I think it's the whole reason.
Nice. I know we have other questions here, so. How are you doing with the language? That's the other thing I was wondering about.
I mean, I can speak it. I don't know if the grammar's perfect, but I can get by for sure.
Oh, nice. How long did it take you?
I mean, I'm still learning, so I don't know if it's done, but I think being immersed in it probably helped. I'd say feeling comfortable, maybe like 3 years.
Did you do any lessons or anything like that in terms of preparation or credits or anything?
Not like specifically, like I didn't go to classes or anything, but I have like, Duolingo and those like books that they give you and stuff. But it was mostly just like working in a job where, you answer the phone, they're speaking to you in Norwegian, and emails, they're in Norwegian, and people that you follow are on social media are writing in Norwegian. So I think, yeah, that was a big thing. And my boyfriend's family only speaks to me in Norwegian. So
Nice. We have time for one question from the group.
I got one.
Okay. Would you mind coming up and it's not easy.
Do you want to stay in the fashion industry or do you want to move industries after?
that's a good question, actually. I think the fashion industry is interesting. And again, kind of the same, just like social media in general, it changes and moves very quickly. And I have working with like musicians as well as like worked with people in restaurants. I can see myself not staying in it 100%, but just sort of like splitting time. But I think there's so many, especially working in a fashion house, where you see so many different like aspects of a fashion company. I mean, you have like e-commerce and production and supply chain and all those. There are ways to stay in it, but not feel so like you have to be the front of the company. So I could see like e-commerce being something, with newsletters and merching products, things like that. So
Thank you.
That's a good question.
thank you.
In what ways you probably had some expectations about fashion work going into it, and then you met reality. How were you surprised about the nature of fashion? Were you surprised? Was anything like not what you expected, or did like, you worked for one thing that you didn't share is you did some work for Pattern Magazine and Indie.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Probably prepared you a certain level, but maybe not. I don't know. How does it surprise
I
you?
mean, it's strange because the whole thing surprises you, and obviously like the cultural difference is very big. Because I think had I started in fashion in like a London or a Paris, I think I would have had a very different experience, because Scandinavians have a very, obviously work-life balance. So I think it's a bit friendlier than is what's happening in other places. Given that I'm working for a company that's trying to grow internationally, you meet a lot of people and they're not always nice. So I think that is a big surprise, because I think you just have the assumption that, it's, 2024 and we're all kind of here to do the same thing, but it's not necessarily always the case. So you have a lot of people who are still stuck in like the Devil Wears Prada experience. So yeah.
So that's not just a theatrical stereotype. That's you do see that.
Unfortunately, no. But I mean, it's very few. It's fewer than I would have expected. So I'm lucky in that sense. But yeah, it definitely exists.
So you definitely found a good place, at least for now.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think we have anything else, and it's probably getting late there.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you. Thank you so much for letting me borrow your time.
Yeah, no, thank you. I really appreciate you doing this. It's great to see you. When are you coming
too.
back?
I'll be there in the summer, so if you're around.
Yeah, I'll be around. Yeah, I've got a couple things I'm doing. I'll do the Kalish and other stuff, but yeah, I'll be around.
Perfect.
All right. Take care of yourself.
You too. Thank you so much.
Everybody say
Bye.
bye.
Thanks.